Hola, hola, hello, 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 welcome, welcome. We are live. Be very, very welcome here today. Thank you so much for being here with me. And just to test if you can hear me well, if you can see me well, please type here in the chat box one, so I know that you will listen to me and you're hearing me, and see me. Please type one over here. And if you're watching me through Facebook, please do the same in the comment box. I'm going to leave my Facebook open here to make sure I can see your comments over there as well. Thank you. It's great. Thank you so much. Excellent. So let's start. Are you ready to start this webinar today? I hope so. Thank you so much for your participation. Let me start with the question to you. Have you ever faced a challenge in your life? Yes or no? Have you ever faced a challenge in your life? I believe, it doesn't matter the size of that challenge. It could be very small, very big one. Have you ever faced one of those? Yes. Thank you. I'm sure you have, a lot of them. Thank you, Minnie. We all have faced challenges in our lives. But let me ask you this as well. How would you like to face those challenges with ease and grace from now on? Would you like some of that? I hope so, because this is an indication that is the main reason why you showed up today to this webinar. My name is Hanna Meirelles, and welcome to the webinar that we call Turning No's into Wins. So turning no's into wins, it's going to be a fantastic 1 hour that we're going to spend here together. And I want to say thanks to you, because with everything that is going on around in your life, you chose to be here and participate with me. So thank you so much for showing up. Thanks for participating in this dialogue. I'm going to ask you some questions, and sometimes I'm going to, ask you to type here in the comment box and share with us, words or how you feel. So feel free to interact with me all the time. You also probably can see a button here with a Q&A for questions. If you have any questions, please send it to me. If we don't have enough time to answer today during this live, I can answer it to you just after. If you were watching through the Facebook, same thing, just put your questions there in the comment box, and I promise you I will address them. If not here today, a little later, but we're gonna have that conversation. So feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much. And for me, it's very important that you're here dedicating your time to watch this live right now, this webinar right now, because this is a subject that is interesting for all of us in the entire planet. Women and men, it doesn't matter where we are. We are going through very different times in our lives, aren't we? We're going to something that is unprecedented. It's not only about the pandemic, but it's everything that comes around with it. Countries are going through difficult times, economically speaking, and we are also changing. The way the world is changing constantly, especially during the last 20 years with all the advancements that we had in technology, with the globalization, how we can be here close to each other, through a screen and through the internet. Everything has been changing so rapidly. And in the world that is volatile, that is uncertain, that is ambiguous, that is very complex, we need different tools. How many of you would like to learn different tools to cope with this uncertain world? Please put it here. If you like that, put it here in the comment box so I know. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. So this is the reason why we're here today, and I really wish that, I really hope, I'm going to make a promise to you here. By the end of this webinar, I promise you, if you stay until the end, you're going to feel more empowered to do what you want to do. You're going to have more energy to move forward, even through uncertain times. Maybe, things are going back to kind of normal, or maybe for you, it's still a very, very uncertain world where you cannot see a few months ahead. What is going to happen from now to the next few months? What is going to happen next year? What is going to happen in 5 years' time? We cannot forecast that exactly. But what we can do is, through the tools that we're going to learn here today, and further in this journey together as women leading to the future, we're going to be able to grasp, to tap into the potential that we have and the things that we already have in ourselves and put it in practice to make sure we can control what we can control in our lives. There are things that are completely out of control, yes, but there are things that we can control, and we're going to address these here today. So I hope today you will learn why is that important for us to become leaders and to become change makers. That's how I like to call it. How to create that resilience that is so fundamental to have during those challenging times. And even though if we're creating that resilience, we don't need to abandon who we are. We can still be ourselves. And this is what we're going to address here today. And also, I hope you learn that how to become an effective leader, an effective change maker in your own life, right? So I'm going to introduce the subject in here and give you some learnings from perspectives that I had during my experience and through different stories, because I really believe that we learn through stories. And that those learnings can maybe be helpful to you. You can maybe utilize them in your daily life. And we also going to learn, most importantly, how to turn these empowering situations into very empowering opportunities for yourselves. Good? Would you like some of that? If this is interesting for you, please put it in here. I want to learn that. Please put it here in the comment box, and I know that you and I will be in the same page. Thank you so much. So as we're going to spend some time together, I'm going to quickly tell you through a first story, why am I here with you today? Why this subject? Why turning positives into turning into positives, right? Negative situations. It is so important to me, and it has been part of my life since I was very, very young. So I am a development facilitator and a global trainer. I'm also a leadership specialist and gender equity specialist. So I work a lot with women's empowerment. And I'm also an international bestseller in 4 different books. And I wrote about this topic that we're going to talk to here today in one of my books that is called Ignite Female Change Makers. I know you're going to love that book, especially if you're here watching this live right now. So what I talked into that book, that is the theme here today, it is about how do we transition from those negative situations and these empowering, very motivating situations into positive opportunities. And we take the learnings out of it and we bring those opportunities to be part of our lives and transform ourselves into the best that we can be, right? So I had been working in male dominated industries for most of my life. And through those experiences, I learned a lot into how to turn the negatives into the positives. But there was something that happened to me a few years back when I was living in Australia, working for one of the companies in a very male-dominated sector. That was something that really touched my heart and made me rethink my entire life. I don't tell that story in this book that I mentioned to you, so this is kind of a bonus story to you, but it's going to bring a very important lesson for all of us. So one day, it was a Sunday night, probably about 10 p.m. I was leaving the dance studio that I was going to very often. And I decided to stop by a convenience store to buy some milk and juice and some food for next day breakfast. I had my friends, 2 of my friends and my sister staying with me and visiting me during that week. So we did the shopping, we bought, all the drinks and stuff. And I have bottles in my hands. And as I was walking out of the store, we saw the taxi rank just a few meters in front of us. And we started walking towards the taxi rank to get a taxi to go home. But in that few meters, something happened to me that changed the course of my entire life, I can say. I was so disconnected at that moment, disconnected of myself, disconnected of what was going on in the world. And I was distracted. I was just looking into the windows, walking, I wasn't paying attention to what was in front of me. And I didn't see there was an electricity box. And I tripped into it and then fell 2.5 meters in front of me. And that little accident caused me a broken jaw into 3 points. And the result of this was that I had to spend now 2 months without speaking and 2 months without eating solid foods. And I remember the next day after spending the entire night in the hospital, with all the different medications and trying to feel better and mobilizing it and my jaw and everything. And I remember the doctor saying to me, like, this is what you have to do for the next 2 months to get healed. And I was devastated. My first thought was like, oh my God, how am I going to communicate to people? How am I going to be like in interaction with other people if I can't speak? My second thought was like, how am I going to eat? If I can't eat solids, like, I don't know how am I going to keep myself nourished, like, or with the appropriate nutrition and food if I only drink juices. I had no idea. I did not know that world. So I had to start from scratch and research what could I do. I went home after that day in the hospital and immediately I started researching. So I went to my mode of change maker, right? I need to make a change now, right? So I can't be here with that, emotion, like feeling devastated and feeling, helpless, or that I can't do anything, that I can't talk, I can't eat, and getting sad for that, which, it was just for a few minutes. And then I got home and then realized that I have to do something. So I went to change mode and my leadership mode into creating a better opportunity for me out of that horrible situation at that stage. And I started researching and discovered so many things that I could actually do. Some were very instinctively, right? So if I can't communicate talking, maybe I'm going to do mimics, right? Maybe I'm going to just communicate through my eyes. And then I realized that only 7% of our communication with some people is through words, actually. The rest of the 93% of the communications we have with someone else is through the body language, is through how we look at each other, how we act. So it's nothing about the words that comes out from our mouths. And when I realized that, it gave me a little more comfort. So yeah, I do have options to communicate in other ways. And then I started researching about food and how I'm going to keep myself nourished and healthy, right? That was my concern. So I started researching that and found amazing solutions of, blending veggies with all the special foods and supplements that I needed and drink it. And it was amazing because I not only improved my health with that process, but being silent for 2 months, actually it took a little bit more than 2 months, but being silent during those 2 months taught me a lot about the way I communicated to other people, and especially to the way that I listen to other people. I discovered that I was not listening to people. I was not listening carefully. I was pretending that I was listening. When somebody was talking to me about something, in my head, I was already formulating the answer or formulating the next question. How many of you have experienced that? If ever in your life somebody said something to you and you were already formulating the answer in your head, like, okay, what am I going to see when this person shuts up? Yes. Thank you, Gayatri. Gayatri saying, oh yes, I've been there. Sasha as well. Yeah, it's me. Thank you. Right? We all do that sometimes. If we are not present, if we're not connected, sometimes our minds just go wild. Somebody's talking to us and we are, yes, sir. We're trying to find solutions in our mind. So that was me before that fall. And I realized that, look, I need to be a little more present. I need to listen to other people. That will improve my relationships, because when I improve my communication skills, I also improve my relationship skills with other people, right? Does that make sense to you? I hope so. I hope it makes sense to you, because it made a lot of sense to me. So many say here, listening is a skill that we all need to work on. Absolutely. And I have the time to discover that. And during that period of those 2 months, I had the opportunity to go deeper into my communication skills, into my relationship skills, and I've learned valuable lessons that I have been applying since then in my life, and I have been also teaching to thousands and thousands of women around the world. So for me, it was fundamental. It was a gift. That fall was what I needed in the moment that I needed. It was exactly the perfect gift the universe gave it to me for me to learn new things and to be able to share with other people like I am sharing here with you. So this is the reason why I am here. I realize that if I can change such a negative situation like that one for me in the first few days into a wonderful opportunity of learning and development, of sharing with other people and making sure that other people can also develop themselves, if I can transform negatives into positives, if I can turn those big fat no's in front of me into wins for my life and for others, I have to talk about this. This is what brings me here, is this excitement and this energy that if I can do it, I know you can do it as well. Yes? So if you believe that, if someone else can do it, I can do it. Please write in here. If you can do it, I can do it. Please write in here in the comment box and I would know that you are with me. Yes, I can do it. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you so much, by the way, for your participation. I love it in here when you write down your comments. It really gives me that sense that we are connected and that it makes sense to you, ladies there listening. That's perfect. Thank you so much. So let me ask you this other question. What is the word? If you can describe a word, and I want to hear from all of you here. I see there's a lot of you participating today. That's awesome. What is a word that you would use to describe this moment that we are living right now, that you are living right now? Give me a word that describes that for you. If you could summarize into one word, what would that word be? All right, Krishna is saying a change. Claudia is saying opportunity. Excellent. What else? What would be the word? Present. Now. Excellent. Keep writing. Krishna is also saying opportunity. Beautiful. Inconsistent. Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you very much. Is there anybody here feeling a little bit uncertain? Just so I know. Fear, thank you. Yes. Is there anybody here feeling uncertain? No. Yeah, okay, good. Anybody here feeling, yeah, this is the time of my life? Yeah. Thank you. Sadness, that's another word that is coming up here. Some people saying, yes, this is the time of my life. Awesome. Very good. Thank you so much. So, and this is what we're talking about here. The situations will happen, right? The context is presented in front of us. It's here part of our lives. There are some things we cannot control, and there are some things that we cannot necessarily change. But there are things that we can change. And our mindset, our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, and our results, those are all things that we can all change. Some people will say that through everything that is going on with the world, that they will feel a little bit negative, they will feel a bit heavy or disempowered, or sometimes they will feel not supported, they will feel sad. Other people will say, no, I'm feeling very positive. I have ideas, I feel empowered, I'm motivated. And those differences just mean that, if I think in one way and you think in another way, it just means that we can all make choices. We can all choose the way we think, we feel, and we act. So we can generate different results. The results that we generate in our lives are consequences of our actions, which are consequences of our mindset, our thoughts, our behaviors, what we think, what we do, how we behave. So how do we turn those negative perceptions, those big no's into wins, not only into yeses, but into wins for our lives. I like better the wins because instead of yeses only, because I remember one inspiration that I have many, many years in my life reading Nelson Mandela and listening to him speaking. And he used to say, as a leader, I never lose. I either win or learn. So that's why today we're going to talk about the things that we can learn, the things that we learn through our stories. And I told you the first one, I'm going to tell you a little bit more stories here because we all learn from them. As women, we are big storytellers. Would you agree with that? We have so many stories to tell, right? So how do we turn those negatives into positives? Let me ask you this, and please answer here in the chat for me as well. Have you ever turned a negative into a positive? If yes, please write it here. Excellent. Thank you. Quite often, right? Thank you, Gayatri. Excellent. All the time. Absolutely. Yes, Krishna. Good. So I know you have, because you are a leader. You are a change maker. So please write here in the chat box, I am a change maker. Please go ahead and do that now because I know you are. So I just want to reinforce that to you. You are a change maker. So please write it here in the comment box. Yes, you are a change maker. Yes, you are. Thank you. That's awesome. I love this. So we all are change makers. And in times like this, that are very uncertain, it's even more important that we take that identity for ourselves, that we assume that identity for ourselves. You know, if you have made ever a change in your life, and you all have, you are a change maker, as you just said here and confirmed in the chat box. And why do you want to be a change maker and continue to be one? Number one reason is because when you assume that identity and you say to yourself, yes, I am a change maker, that shifts your brain. That shuts up those kind of, little voices that are always in your shoulder saying, oh, you can't do this. This crisis is awful. Oh my God. Fear, panic, all of it, procrastination, whatever. When you feel, all right, despite of everything that is going on, I am a change maker. So as more as you repeat that for yourself, you are shifting your brain. Yes, that's the reason number one. And you shift your brain to the positive, so your brain will see a situation and it will always look into another side and see, all right, even with the chaos here, with the uncertainty, I have the tool that I know, okay, I am a change maker, I am a leader, I can do this. No matter what other people say, I can transform that situation into a great opportunity and into a great learning and positive outlook for myself and maybe for my family, for my community, and for the world that we all live in. The second reason why, it's because you should, assume that, take that identity as a change maker, is that if you change now, you will thrive in the future. You absolutely will thrive in the future. We trainers of women leading into the future, we have trained this kind of content and helped so many women around the world, not only women, but also men, but especially women. And right now, in times of this crisis, for example, because of the pandemics, these people are thriving. They are thriving. They're opening new businesses. They are helping their families. They are creating big campaigns to help those ones who are in need. They are recruiting people while other companies are firing people. They are creating massive changes. They are thriving. They are earning a lot of money as well. They becoming healthier because they see the need. Oh, I cannot abandon my health, so I have to train harder. I have to, increase my intake of water. Excuse me. I have to eat better, eat healthier. So they realize how those things are important. So they are striving. And this is what we want for all of you. And the third reason why we want you to all the time assume that identity as a change maker is that you give yourself a reason to wake up every day happier, so you can contribute as more as you want, as more as you can. Good? Let me ask you this. How many of you would like to feel happier, to wake up every day with that sense of contribution, of purpose, and contributing to other people, whether if it is your employees, your family members, your colleagues, your friends? Would you like a little bit of that? Would you like to feel happier? Yes. Good. Absolutely. Thank you. So life is beautiful. Everything happens to make us better. Thank you, Krishna. Gayatri is saying the only constant in life is change. Yes, always. I love it. Thank you, Mindy. Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you, everybody. Absolutely. So you are all change makers. And I want to share with you 5 actions, or I always say the 5 behaviors. I like to call them behaviors that you can practice so you can assume that identity as a leader, as a change maker at all times. Would you like to know which behaviors are those? Yes? Thank you. Excellent. So 5 behaviors. I'm going to share those through different stories because I can only come from my experience, right? So my experience taught me some of those things that you're going to hear today, but also taught me much more that we're not going to have time to go in through all the different learnings, but I chose 5 big ones to share here with you. Especially being in a group of women and understanding that, yes, society not always is fair. Sorry, society not always, sort of fair with everybody who is in it. So sometimes we do face conditions, let's say the big example that we have right now, the COVID-19 pandemic. For some families I have heard, and some of the women that are working with me have told me, like, look, you know what happened with me? This pandemic is not fair. Hannah, I try to keep positive. I try to keep very, up high energy. But in reality, what has happened is this. Me and my partner, my husband, we are both working home office. We have 2 kids in our house. They can't go to school. Schools are still closed in our country. And we have been homeschooling them for the last 3 months. But what happens is, like, although we say we are in home office, me and my husband, I can say that he is really in home office because he's working. He's doing his meetings. He's there with his phone and his computer and then, making calls, participating in different meetings the entire day. What is happening to me is I participate in one meeting, but then during the time of my daughter's class, I have to leave my computer, go to her tablet, or give my computer to her so she can have her school class in the computer. So by the time that sometimes, if her tablet is not working for some reason and broke the other day, she uses my computer. I have to sit with her. I'm the one to sit with her and clarify any questions. I'm the one to sit with my son as well and be there with him talking about what did he learn. And I'm the one to create jokes here or games for my kids to entertain them. So she said, it's not really fair. And then when I go to my husband and my partner and I ask him, like, can you help me more? And then he says, like, oh yeah, sure. What do you want me to do? And then she goes, you can wash the dishes, or you can cook lunch today, or I don't know what else he can do. So sometimes it feels like for many families, the burden of everything that is going on, it falls into women's laps at home. And some of the behaviors that I'm going to share with you here, it can help you to change your own attitudes. So you can maybe help to change other people, especially your partner's attitudes as well. Good? So behavior number 1. Behavior number 1. I'm going to tell you a story about this, and then you will feel, what do I mean by that? But I would love to share with you the name of this behavior so you understand what I'm talking about. Behavior number 1 is stand up for something. Stand up for something. And what do I mean by that? I'll tell you the story. Um, when I was very young, I I was coming back from a theater in a school bus with my friends. And all of my friends were very excited in that moment in the bus. I was at the back and I couldn't understand what was going on until minutes later, I figured out that my best friend at school was coming all the way walking in the bus from the front until the back, delivering birthday card party invitations. So she was about to celebrate her birthday on the next Saturday and was inviting everybody. So that's why the bus was going on. And then immediately when I heard about that, I was like, oh my God, it is a party to go. I was 10 years old. So a party was a big excitement, right? And then, I have to, I have to think about what I'm going to wear. But then, what if my mother doesn't allow me to go? All those things are going through my mind until my friend came up to me and now it's my time to receive the invitation. And she's in front of me. She looks at me and she says, Hanna, I cannot invite you. And I asked her, why? And she says, because you're poor. And my friends, I was devastated. I was the only kid in the entire classroom, in the entire bus that was not invited to her birthday party. And she was my best friend at school. And I was not invited because we had different social situations. All of those were kind of rich kids, but I wasn't, I actually did not belong there in the sense where I didn't have the same money as they have or as their families have. But because my parents, made education a big priority in their lives, they wanted to make sure that I was going to study in the best schools. So they chose that school specifically because it was one of the best, a very top school. And they tried to find money with uncles, with scholarships. So they asked the school to pay, to basically, allow me to study there for free, or some years, ask for a half a scholarship or something like that. That was the only reason why I was there. But that episode really transformed me in the point that, in the sense that I saw how I was feeling at that moment when I was excluded from a gathering with all my friends. And I realized that I didn't want any other person to feel what I was feeling during that time, during that day. I realized that instead of excluding people, what I wanted to do was to include everybody. No matter if you are a woman or a man, no matter if you are poor or rich, no matter if you were black or white, no matter if you were from that country and I am from Brazil, it doesn't matter. We are all one. We are all human beings that wants to belong into the society. And years later, I discovered that inclusion was therefore part of my mission. I grew up with that. Since that episode, inclusion became one of the things that I stand up for. So I stand up for inclusion. What do you stand up for? Put it here in the comment box so I can see. What do you stand up for? What's your cause? What makes you wake up every day, get out of the bed with that energy to contribute, to do something different, to do, something around in the world, or something for your family, something for your work that you perform, something for your friends, your colleagues, or your employees if you are a business owner? What do you stand up for? This was something that made a huge difference in my life. Because if I understood what I was standing up for, I could turn any kind of situations that look like negative, and I could, like this one of, in the school bus, and look into it and say, all right, instead of, I felt excluded. That was not cool. That was not nice for me. What do I want to do with that? I want to include everybody. And I started to have a much more positive outlook in life and practice positive behaviors of including others around me. So thank you, Gayatri, for saying equality. And Shipra is saying, I stand up for inclusion, and quality confidence, and no feeling of being any less anytime. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's perfect. So even if you don't know right now what you stand up for, try to discover. Initiate this process to discover who you really are. Why are you here? What is your mission, your purpose in this world? And in Women Leading to the Future, you're going to notice that throughout this journey, this is one of the things that we help you with, that to clarify what do you stand up for, what is your purpose? Why were you born? Why are you here? We all here for a reason or for several reasons. What are your reasons? And this is one point for us to think about it. So that was behavior number one. Behavior number two that I learned also throughout my experience. I actually gonna tell you a story to introduce to you behaviors number 2 and 3. Cool? So in this way, we can tie up better the story. So what happened was a few years ago when I was in university, I was studying business at university, and my friends actually invited me to see a lecture in the very first day to understand what are the different organizations part of my university. And I fell in love with one of those organizations, which was called Isaac. And it was the largest, it still is the largest student-run organization in the world. And they develop future leaders through exchange programs around the world. That's what they do. I fell in love for them. And when I discovered that their mission, their purpose, what they stand up for is peace in the world through great leaders doing great things, I decided to join them. So I applied to join that organization. And I had in front of me a big no. In that moment when I decided, I went to apply for them. I went to their office and I saw in the paper they have in front of their door saying, in the poster saying, requirements to work with us. Number 1, speak English. And I didn't speak English at that time, not at all. I was 18 years old. I was born in the country learning Portuguese, never had the money or the resources to learn English and speak fluently. I could read something, I could understand very basic things, but I couldn't talk as I am talking here to you right now. So that was a big no. But I said, all right, I'm not gonna, let this turn me down. I'm gonna go anyway and insist that I want to participate in this process. So what I realized it was that I have to be persistent and try. I had nothing to lose. Let me try. Let me go there and do it. So I decided to apply anyway. And I talked to the people who received my application and I said to them, look, I don't speak English yet, but from today onwards, this is my commitment to you guys. I really want to work with you and I am going to learn English no matter what. I'm going to do this. And they said, okay, fine. They probably have heard this story from other people, so they didn't give me too much credit, but I kept going to the selection process stages, right? So step 1, you have group dynamics. Step 2, you have a second group dynamics. Step 3, you do an assessment online, and then step 4, blah, blah. And I was being approved step by step by step because I was showing them my willingness. I was showing them my passion. I was persevering so hard because I really want to work with them. And they were seeing that in me. So I was like, all right, that's, it's working. They're starting to believe in me. I want to do that. And I realized at that moment that I really had a chance, So at the end of the process, I was the only one in the entire planet that they selected that year that did not speak English. And they gave me that chance. And it was amazing because that big no for me, I just transformed into a great challenge, a great opportunity for me to learn a new language. During that selection process itself, the moment that I left the office when I handled my application, I started already, okay, let me hear some more English music. Let me do something, something different. So I was always thinking it's never too late. I can always learn new things in every moment of my life, no matter how old I am. It doesn't matter, right? And at that moment, I already had, I was only 18, but there was already people telling me that, it's language, you only learn when you were a kid. But, if you're an adult already, you're not going to learn a new language. Who said so? Who said so? I always challenge that. So for me, and thank you for your comments, guys, here. Yes, like, leadership, that is incredible. Wow, this is amazing. Thank you so much for your comments. So that willingness was inside of me, but I also realized that it was not natural for everybody. I had that positive outlook in life, and I started to study deeper why some people were more positive than others, right? And Alison Ledgerwood is a wonderful writer and researcher from UC Davis University in the United States, and she's a psychologist, and she has proved through her work that even if you have a very positive outlook in life, if you naturally tend to turn negatives into positives or no's into yeses in this case, what happens is with our brain, this is her research, with our brain, what happens is our brains takes twice the time to turn a negative into a positive than to do the opposite. Our brain goes to a negative situation naturally much faster than it goes to a positive situation. And what does that mean to us? It means that we have to work on how to keep our positivity, our optimism, and our identity as a change maker. Because everything can come on our way, like a crisis, a pandemic, or an economic turnaround, or whatever it is, or a death in the family, or a divorce, or a broken heart, or so many situations can happen with us that can make us feel, yes, negative emotions. And I'm not saying that we don't have to feel them. What I'm saying is like, yes, we have to feel them, identify them, understand what is going on with us, and then assume that identity as a change maker and as a leader of our own lives as true for us, because it's our true self, and then change our attitudes. You start to think something different, you start to feel something different, and go into the positives and make that big learnings and wins for all of us. So this is exactly what I'm saying here. And talking about those behaviors, the next behavior, it is also related to that story. It's what I call be a pioneer. Be a pioneer, which means maybe nobody has joined their organization that didn't speak English before. And that's actually, that was the reality at the time. They have never approved someone with that condition. It was a basic requirement. You have to speak English. But that situation cannot allow me, I cannot allow that situation to dominate my feelings and what I think, to make me to get to a point of I give up. I never give up. This is another principle I learned from T. Harv Eker that it's amazing to be reminded of every single day. I never give up. So being a pioneer, if others haven't opened that space yet, maybe you want to, open that space for yourself and for others. Maybe you want to be the first one. And that's important, because when you are the first one to do something about whatever is the subject, sometimes it's in your business, sometimes it's to join an organization, in this case that I told you in my example, sometimes it's in your family or at your work, or whatever is the situation. When you do something for the first time, especially being a woman, you set up an amazing example of, yes, that can be done. If she could do it, I can do it. This is what other women around you will be saying. This is what your daughters and sons will be saying. This is what other people, your friends and your employees will be saying. Yes, if she can do that, I can do it. If she could change that situation, I can do it too. If she can be a pioneer, I can be a pioneer in my field as well. So this is truly important for us to grasp and understand. We can always be pioneers. I love to be a pioneer in so many things in my life, and that gives me energy to move forward and keep going. So how many of you like to be pioneers in your own fields, in your own lives? Just please write down in here, take the first step, take the initiative and say, yes, nobody has done that. Okay, I want to do that. Nobody has been in that industry. I want to do that. If that's you, just please write it in here so I know. Thank you. Yes, you make your own road. Absolutely, Gayatri, right? I want to do that, right? So you want to be a pioneer. And when we're talking about the third behavior was something that with that experience in that organization, I learned just after that. When I joined the organization, I invited somebody to help me out, to support me in that journey, to understand that with me that, yes, I have a long path to go. I have to learn new things. And by the way, it was not only English that I had to learn. I also had to learn about leadership while I was there, right? One of the things I noticed in that organization was like, I was there there was like about 50% of people, of women, 50% of men in the office, if we look at overall people. But I noticed that the management team was always majority was always men. And I struggled to see the entire management team. I struggled with that. Why are there no more women in there? So I couldn't understand that. Why all the presidents of the office, like, the main director of the offices are, men? Why women are not stepping up? So I was struggling with that concept. What did I decide to do? Be a pioneer. So I said, okay, I'm going to put my name up for the next elections. And I spent 1 year preparing myself, with the help of this next behavior that I will show you. I spent 1 year preparing myself to be able to become the next president. And that was exactly what happened. So after the 1 year preparation, I became a president of that office, the first female president that they have ever had. And for me, it was a big accomplishment, but especially because I was setting up an example to other women that you can also be presidents. You can also be in this management team. You can be part of this if that's what you want. Not because others want for you, but if this is what you want, go for it, right? And I had a lot of support, training, and understanding what was going on from a mentor. Find a mentor. This is the third behavior that made a huge difference in my life. I have today different mentors, and I always have since then, since my first one that I just told you the story in that organization. For me, I always try to find different mentors to help me in that specific moment of my life. We all need people to share ideas, to bounce ideas with, to reflect upon. Some people that will ask us questions, that will make us think about what we're doing. How can we change? How can we move forward? How can we grow? How can we evolve? We all need people to help us in this journey. So this is another behavior that really helped me a lot. It was finding a mentor. And at that time, that mentor was with me for many, many years. And until today, we became friends. We talked to each other. And what I realized years later was that I decided also to find women mentors, because I had a lot of examples in my life in the very early stages of my career from mentors who were men. But there were some nuances, some particular discussions that they couldn't necessarily be empathetic with me because they were just not in my shoes. They were not living the same kind of situations as I was going through as a woman in my career, especially a woman working in male dominated industries like training, consulting, engineering, mining, oil and gas, construction, right? So I've worked with all of this. So for me, it was very heavy. And then sometimes I just need another women mentor to help me out, to bounce ideas with and enlighten my perspective about career and about life. So that was another behavior that helped me a lot. Behavior number 4. So let me just know if you're enjoying the behavior so far. I see some comments here. Yeah, Violet is saying, oh yes, I want it. In fact, planning one, and I'm having code feed inspire me. Thank you, Violet. That's great. And yeah, Shipra is saying, yes, I am a pioneer. I always challenge the status quo. We're going to talk about that. That's awesome, Shipra. Excellent. So Gayatri, yes, real good one. Thank you so much. Super, Claudia. Awesome. So the next behavior, it's also related. It came from one of the stories in my life. And I spoke a little bit about the concept already here, but I'll give you the behavior specifically. So when I was a teenager, I was a rhythmic gymnast. And for those of you who know me, it can sound a little bit strange because I am super tall. And in general, when you see the gymnasts, not nowadays much anymore, but in the past when you were watching Olympics and stuff, they were all the same height, right? And in general, they were shorter. So they have a very beautiful composition among the group that were performing. If you see rhythm gymnastics in Olympics, this is what you're going to see. Beautiful, especially with the groups, beautiful dancing in there and performing beautiful gymnastics. So I was one of those. I was performing that gymnastics. And one day my coach decided that she wanted to do an internal competition in our state. So in our group, she divided a group of 20 girls into 5 smaller groups of 4 people. In my group of 4, we were by far the underdogs. We were a little chubby, I was very big chicks, big bellies, and I was too tall. We were having so much trouble doing the exercises, we were never in the same rhythm as the other ones. Clearly, it looked like the universe chose the 4 ones who were more, let's say, challenging in gymnastics and put them together. It looked like this. So we end up in this group, and now, okay, good. So we have a tournament going ahead in a few months' time, and we want to participate. How are we going to do this? So everybody from day one of the division of the groups, everybody started saying already you guys, you don't have a chance. You're too weak, you're too tall, you're too fat, you're too this, you're too that, you're not good enough. We heard all of this from everybody. We didn't have any support from them, including from our coach. We were hearing things from our coach like, no, guys, just train a little bit. You don't need to train too much. From our own coach at that time. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? It's unbelievable, right? So I, have a first conversation with my other 3 teammates. And in this conversation, I told them, look, I like to win. And we're going to have to train harder than everybody else, right? And they said, yeah, right, we have to. We're going to have to be here longer in the gym. They're going to only train 2 or 3 times a week. We got to do something different. And then it came suggestions. They said okay, let's train 5 days a week. Let's come here earlier so we can have the benefit of the gym. We can leave later as well. So let's be here, and train harder. Let's ask for some more support from our coach and from other people around, from extra coaching, extra coaches. And let's do this. Let's do whatever it takes. And I have to tell you this, ladies, after a few months of hard work, extremely hard work, we got into the competition. And you know what happened? Do you guys want to know what happened? Any ideas? If you have any ideas of what happened, just please write it here in the chat. Yes, Gayatri. Yes, we won. We won. We not only gave everything during the training, the practices, but we gave everything in the gym, during the tournament, during the competition, and we won the gold medal. But besides of winning the gold medal, we also won the respect of everybody who was there watching us, our families, our friends, the entire school, different schools. And something very important happened that day besides of all of that. We allowed other people, everybody who was there, to change, to shift their mindsets. They saw that something that was not likely to happen, something that was completely unheard of or unimaginable, right? They saw that it was actually, it is possible to turn this into a big win. We already had the no from the start of the practices. We just turned that into a big win for us and for our lives. And that allowed everybody else to realize in that gymnasium that it was possible to turn no's into wins. Cool? So this is what happened. And for me, it showed something very, very important, which is the next behavior. The next behavior is this one over here. Have grit. By Angela Duckworth, who is also one of the most famous researchers in psychology, especially in the areas of grit and talent. She has a book called Grit, and she defines grit as the sum of passion and perseverance. When you have passion and perseverance to have together, this is what grit is. Grit trumps talent. You can be very talented. You were born with a natural, innate talent that everybody talks about, but if you don't do anything with that, your talent is not going to be used. So if you are passionate about it, and if you persevere into what you want to do, you're going to have that grit, right? So have that grit. Make that choice. Don't just let things that are, besides of you or outside of you say, oh yeah, you know what? No, I'm not going to bother about that. This is going to happen anyway in my life, whatever it is. Do what you feel it is important to do to achieve what you want to achieve. Have the passion and that perseverance. Have grit. So this was the fourth behavior. Yes. And the last behavior I want to share with you today, it's very related to what I think Shipra already said. And it is something that it's very important to me. And I'll tell you the last story to illustrate that behavior because it really touched my heart. And it was a story that happened recently. So another day, actually a few months ago, with this pandemic, working from home, I lose track of time. So this was already a few months ago. I was in a meeting, and this meeting was full of men and very few women, just few women, maybe 3 or 4 or 5. And there were 100 men in that room, and they were discussing recruiting new employees. It was a business meeting. They wanted to recruit new employees. And one of those people there, one of those gentlemen raised his hand and talked to the others and said, look, I think it's beautiful that we're talking here about recruiting women. It's so nice that we're going to recruit more women into this business because our environment is going to be more beautiful and more flowery. And then almost immediately, another gentleman started to speak. And then I discovered later that this other gentleman was the first gentleman's boss. So that second gentleman started to speak and he said, look, this is not the reason why we're recruiting women here. The reason why we're recruiting women here, it is because we need them and it is fair. If we need a place to be more flowery and more beautiful, we should plant some trees. So with that sentence, that gentleman, he just opened a new big world for everybody that was in that room. Because nobody had until that point in that organization, comments like those, women, we want to recruit more women, and if we recruit more women, our place is going to be much nicer, much more beautiful, it's going to smell better. People were always doing this kind of comments, but nobody was questioning that. And that gentleman questioned that for the very first time with that group of people. He set up there an example with that sentence of, if we want a more flowery and beautiful place, we should plant more trees. He basically wants to say there are much more important reasons why we need and we want to recruit women for this business. And imagine that at this time, those 3-4 women in the room were like shaking their hands and saying, yes, and all the men were like kind of shocked, because in the past, they would have agreed with the first gentleman. They would laugh, they would find funny, they would find cute, they would find nice, but this is not the reason why we should be in businesses, right? You ladies here are business women or are working women, and you are doing many different things in your lives. So maybe you're not working right now, but you want to work something outside, or you want to maybe change your work. You maybe want to step up to a next level. Maybe you want to create different communities or different businesses. And there is a big reason why we should all be in businesses. And I don't need to tell you about this. You already know. It is deep down inside of you. We all should be in businesses. We are, yes, 50% of this planet. When we contribute, when we are involved with the communities and in the planet in different businesses, everybody wins. Not only me, it's not only one person, not only you that is turning no's in your life into wins, is that the entire community and the entire planet wins when you take your leadership to a next level. When you decide to be every single day the change maker that you already are deep inside yourself. So this is what we talk about here in Women Leading to the Future. We all have been through this journey of turning big fat no's into wins in our lives. And the fifth behavior is this, is one behavior that we started doing it because first, we had no choice. If we want if we want more equality, as one of you said here earlier, in the world, we definitely had to practice that. And as Shipra says, question the status quo. This is behavior number 5. Question the status quo. Things don't need to be forever the way they have been so far. If we see there's no many women right there in my business, what about, let me question this. Let's recruit more women to work in here. If we see the situation is not fair in my house, if my partner and I are not agreeing, he is in the laptop the entire day and I have to take care of the house, the food, the kids, the homeschooling, blah, 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 and pretend that I am doing home office for 8 or 9 hours, which it's not possible if I'm trying to do everything by myself. Let's question this. Let's have a conversation with our partners to question the status quo or the current situation. If we translate better the Latin for status quo, this current situation that we have it right now. If we question it, we can change. We will change the situations. And here, and as in Women Leading to the Future, one of the things that we do in our best is to share with you different tools so you can practice those behaviors, you can question the status quo, you can be a pioneer, you can become that change maker that you already are. You can not only find different mentors here with us, different coaches that will help you through this journey, but you see the difference in your life from now onwards. This is why we have this community here, for us to learn new things, to step up our game, to go to the next level of our lives. Let me ask you this. How many of you here would like to have better or even better relationships with people? If you like better relationships, just write in here, yes, so I know. Thank you. How many of you would like better, or let's say not only better income, but you would like really, really to improve the level of your finances and of your wealth? How many would like that? Thank you. Thank you, Benita. Awesome. Minnie Clara, thank you so much. How many of you would like to have a more balanced life? Having, your mind, your body, and your spirit in balance. So you can go through challenges through these uncertain times in your life with more ease and more grace, being the female, the feminine that you really are. Would you like a little more of that? Gayatri say, oh yes, we all work, whether in home or out of it. Exactly. We all do some work, right? Inside, outside, it doesn't matter. You're right. All need to see and understand and learn from each of us. Would you would like to help others and earn? Yes, yes, excellent. And how many of you would like to keep contributing, keep bringing up and standing up for your mission and helping people, helping your family, helping your communities, helping the society, the country where we live in, to be better places for everybody? If you would like to help others, please say, oh yes, I would like that. Please say me here. Thank you, Mindy. That's awesome. Excellent. Thank you, Gayatri. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Benit, and everybody who's participating here with us. Thank you. And through Facebook as well. So and this is what we do here, because we know that you want to help other people. We, as a six people team, right? A team of women leading into the future, the six trainers and leaders in here, we would like to help you, because we know that you want to contribute bigger to the society and to wherever you are. So we want to help you with that. And that's why we create an amazing program called Leadership Beyond Uncertain Times. Because we know you can not only step up your game and live your life into the next level, but we also know that you can help a lot of other people to do the same, to improve the quality of their relationships, to improve their wealth, their finances, the status that they are right now. So if you are already super rich, who is stopping you to getting even more? So if you are already super healthy, super fit, who is stopping you to teach what you know and what you've learned to other people? So we have a healthier world. People that are going through right now through this pandemic, so many people could be healing so fast, or maybe would not be caught up in that kind of situation if they have the immune system much stronger, right? So if you already know what you want to do in your life, if you already have that purpose, would you like to put this purpose every day out there to help other people? Yes or yes? Yes, right. I see here Violet and Kalinka and everyone saying yes, absolutely. So because we know that you want to help others, we want to help you. And we created this program that is going to happen from the 13th to the 17th of July. So it's very, very close, and we are super excited about it. We are a team of trainers from different countries, different continents, with sort of very mixed backgrounds, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to support you to understand really who you are and step up your game in the areas of relationship, wealth, health, and meaning and purpose. So if you want a lot of that in your life, and even more that you have already, this is where you're going to find all the information that we're going to provide to you during this time. I'm going to put it here in the chat box and the link to you so you can have access to all the information about our workshop. So once again, it's leadership beyond uncertain times. It's going to make you create a different world that not only you live the nose, or you turn the nose, because the nose will be right there in front of us all the time in our lives. They will come, challenges will come. Challenges will come all the time. And then how do we take these challenges and create opportunities? And it's a very hands-on program. It's a completely transformational learning that you're going to have during this workshop. We are certified by Blair Singer Training Academy, which is considered the best of the training academies and facilitations in the planet. And we have been working with this for over a decade, teaching women all over the world about how to change their own lives and create a better future for their families and their communities and for the planet.